Capitano, buongiorno.
Hey,
Matteo Renzi.
Matteo Renzi.
Buongiorno Presidente, benvenuto.
Good morning,
Della Stazione
President.
Spaziale
Welcome
Internazionale.
on board the International Space Station.
Buongiorno Presidente, benvenuto a bordo della Stazione Spaziale Internazionale.
È un piacere
It's a pleasure
vederla dopo
to be hearing you and to see you after seeing you on Twitter after these long months,
il suo rientro che ormai si
waiting for your return, which is getting closer. We are going to wait for you here physically at Palazzo Chigi.
La ringrazio,
Thank
grazie
you.
dell'invito
Thank you
e,
for the
sarà
invitation,
sicuramente
and
un piacere.
it will
Però la
certainly
missione
a pleasure,
ancora
but the
lunga,
mission is
un
still
mese e
long.
mezzo,
We
c'è
still have a
ancora
month and a
tanto da
half.
fare,
There's so much work to
soprattutto
do.
tanta
And
ricerca,
most of
tanta
all, a lot of
scientifica
research and a
ancora
lot
da
of
completare, quindi
scientific
ancora non ho-
activity to complete.
non ho,
So
diciamo, tirato i remi in barca,
for
ma
now,
sono
I
pronta
still
a partire.
haven't packed up yet, and I'm not ready to come back.
la stiamo seguendo con grande
We're following you with a great admiration,
il fatto che
both for the fact that you are the first woman
questa importante
to do this important
di condurre una
work
missione scientifica
to conduct the scientific mission on board, but also because you have
a avvicinare anche noi
treated us
profani, non
to
addetti ai lavori, alla
get us
bellezza
lay people
straordinaria
closer
del lavoro che state svolgendo.
to the beauty and the importance of the work that you're doing, not only by explaining everything that you're doing, which is very interesting,
Dal come si corre e come
from how you run, to how you cut your hair, to the more serious scientific research,
domande geografiche
to the geographical questions that you ask over Twitter, which I follow all the time and I never get an answer right.
No, immagino, anch'io
I
devo
can
dire,
imagine.
sono
I
sempre
also have to
stata
say that
pessima in
I've
geografia,
always been
quindi,
terrible in geography.
quando faccio
So
quelle domande
when I
perché
ask these
sono io la
questions,
prima a
it's
non
because
conoscere
I'm
la
the first one
risposta.
to not know the
Però
answer.
davvero mi fa
But
molto
truly,
piacere se
I'm
questa
very
missione sarà
delighted
anche un'occasione
if
di
this mission is an opportunity
trasmettere
to
qualcosa, magari un po'
transmit
di passione,
a
soprattutto
little bit
per i
of passion,
giovani
especially
a
for the
questa,
youth,
io chiamo una grande
for
avventura
this
di
that I
umanità,
call
che è
a great
l'esplorazione spaziale, che ha
adventure of
chiaramente
humanity,
delle
which is space
componenti
exploration,
scientifiche,
which
tecnologiche
clearly has
importanti, che
some
sono molto importanti
scientific
per il
and
nostro paese. Il
technology
nostro paese
components that are very
è
important for our
leader nel
country.
campo
Our
della
country is a
ricerca e della
leader in
tecnologia
the
spaziale.
research and space
Ma poi
technology.
credo proprio che
But
sia,
I also
ripeto,
believe
una
that
grande
it's
avventura
again a great
dell'umanità che è
adventure for
proprio
humanity,
nel nostro
which
futuro
is
come
in our
esseri umani.
future as human beings.
sono totalmente d'accordo.
I'm completely in agreement.
Forse noi dovremmo fare
Even though maybe we should be doing more, we're very proud of what the Italian Space Agency does with ESA
agenzie con tutti i partner.
and with all the partners of this extraordinary adventure.
Tuttavia, quando raccontiamo
However, when we
l'Italia,
talk about Italy,
ci limitiamo
we
a
limit
la
ourselves
bellezza.
to see the beauty of it, which is not
Basta vedere
just a little bit. All you have to do is look at a photo from up there that you give us to see how extraordinary this country is. But we have this ability of innovation and to invest in innovation, and perhaps we should do more to invent something new that is part of our DNA.
non valorizziamo a sufficienza.
And sometimes that's something that we don't value enough. So your mission has great value because it brought many men and women closer to this world. So now we should be capable, even when you come back, to continue to invest, even with more determination, in the projects, both European and international, in this way.
Presidente, non posso
President,
che
I can't
associarmi
but
alle sue
be in
parole.
agreement with your
È
words.
bello,
It's
avere dei
great
successi,
to be
passati,
successful
presenti,
in
a
the
cui
past
guardare,
and
ma
present,
naturalmente è
but of
importante
course it's
costruire il
important to
futuro.
build the
E davvero
future.
penso che
So I
ogni
truly believe
euro
that every
investito
euro
nel
that's
settore
invested
spaziale,
in the
nelle
space
tecnologie
sector
spaziali,
and in
ha
space technologies
un ritorno sull'investimento
has a return on
grandissimo. Da
investment
quello che mi
that's very
spiegano, insomma,
great.
persone più
From
intelligenti
what
di me, è uno dei
people
settori che
smarter than me tell me about it, it's one of the sectors with the highest return of investment. So we sent people into space, but we don't send money into space, so that stays in our infrastructure. So it creates jobs for our young graduates in these sectors of science and technology, which then they need to find jobs in our country. So I can't but join you in your words. You can imagine that I'm surrounded here by many people who are looking at me, and they're all happy for what you're saying and for the commitments that we'll make. But I also think that it's important to be able together to imagine the country for the future for our country. I'm very taken aback when we lose sight of the beauty that Italy represents. And yet, every time I speak with other government colleagues from foreign countries and managers of great companies that invest in Italy, the first thing that they tell me, it's not the great food or the beauty of the museums, but the fact that we have a human capital, a quality of our studies that many are jealous of. So that's what we need to work on more. Even if on food, hopefully you miss some of it. I know you're doing a lot of experiments, but hopefully you're missing some Italian food. Tell me the truth. Well, I have to say, I can't deny that I will be able to come back to Italy to eat some of our gourmet foods. But I have to tell you that we're getting espresso here on board. There's a resupply vehicle, Dragon, that's coming in a couple of weeks, and it will bring us this espresso machine technology development, which is also a technology demonstration of fluids at high pressure and temperature and weightlessness, but it's also going to bring us some pods to make espresso. And also, I was saying on this vehicle, we'll have 2 new experiments from the Italian Space Agency, very interesting. They're called Site to Space and NATO. They're going to bring 2 cell cultures. The idea is, one, to study the effect of some nanoparticles to fight bone loss, which affects astronauts, but also people on Earth suffering from osteoporosis. And another one that studies the effect of microgravity on the structures of the cell. Something so small like a cell suffers from the absence of gravity, changing its structure, and influences its functioning and cascading into its functional biology and affects our health. So 2 experiments that we still have to conduct. My compliments. I see that you're also doing a lot of physical exercising. I've seen you run on the treadmill and trying to do gym exercises. To seeing you, it's very interesting. If I'm not mistaken, a few weeks ago you wrote on Twitter that you were a little worried because you'll have to do a lot of stretching to recoup muscle tone. But if you had to explain to someone like me who also didn't pass science, so now everybody's going to tell me that I'm not particularly proud of, but what is the experiment that you like the most in these 4.5 months, more or less? So since you left, what is the experiment that most impressed you that you can explain to somebody who has a lot to learn like me? It's hard to pick one. I'm going to name a couple. And let's say that at least the ones that have to do more with the astronaut are the ones where we are the guinea pig, where we're involved, and the operations are more interesting and complex. One is called Drain Brain, which is coming from Ferrara. And it's interesting because for the first time, we are studying the effect of not having weightlessness, of blood going towards the heart on Earth gravity helps, but on Earth, up here, it's not like that. So they developed a very simple method. It's an elastic band that you put around your neck, which in a way that's not invasive, and it has nothing to do with the operator's ability to interpret. It gives you the ability to measure the blood flow in the vein so that you can quantify this flow and understand what the effect of weightlessness. But validating this technology can be very interesting for clinical research on Earth, so very promising. Another one that's interesting, it's called airway monitoring. It's an ESA experiment, and here too, for the first time, we study the gaseous exchange within our lungs when we breathe. So studying the mechanics of this gas exchange of the lungs in weightlessness in microgravity. So it's the first time that we're studying this phenomenon. But the first experiment that you were talking about is from Ferrara, so it's from Italian Space Agency. So it's made in Italy. And the second one, if I understand, it's from ESA, the European Space Agency. One of the things that struck me from what you said before you left, and then from up there, where you're looking at us. Actually, where are you right now? Are we over South America, Latin America? So right now. I have to confess that, unfortunately, I haven't verified where we are at this time, so I can't pass this question. That's okay. They told me that you're over Latin America, but at the end of this, who knows where you're going to be over the world. But one thing that really struck me of what you wrote, even on your Twitter profile, you wrote European of Italian citizenship. And this is a beautiful thing because the way the flags are beautiful, the flags behind you, because this is a moment in which Europe has lost a little bit its identity, its sense, its deep sense of vocation. So I think it's beautiful that there are projects like the one from ESA that remind us what Europe is, and that it's not just a group of boring rules and economics. So from this point of view, we have to be doubly grateful. Can I ask you, what is the moment? Because to a child, you ask, what do you want to do when you grow up? And they respond, astronaut. But what do you ask an astronaut? When you come back, how are you going to help us with Italian projects and European projects? President, I am at your disposal.
Public servant.
I'm a public servant, as the Americans say. So I'm obviously at your disposal for giving back what was given to me, which was a lot. My country gave me so much. So I'm absolutely at your disposal to give back whichever way I can. And the agencies that I'm talking about, they will know how to best use the experience that I have so that I can give back and put it back in circulation so that others may benefit from it. The first thing that we'll need to do is in schools, because I've seen that when you go over Trentino or Milan and you say, this is where I went to my final 2 years of school, I've seen some tweets that you've done on the matter. I think that we'll need to do a project together on schools, because our youth need to come back to thinking that Italy is not just about a country with a great past, but a place where the future can even be more beautiful than the past. And I will really need you when you come back. So go ahead and finish up these experiments, because we need you to come back down here to help us in Italy. Mr. President, thank you so much. Of course, I definitely agree. Schools and the youth are important, and they're always at the center of my thoughts.
Capitano, grazie di
Captain,
cuore per
thank you so much
del tempo. Qui siamo da
from the heart
Chigi,
to dedicate some time to you. From Palazzo Chigi, we're all rooting for you.
in bocca al lupo.
We wish you break a leg for these 40 days
Attendono il momento
that are still ahead of you
del ritorno, del
until your return, until your reentry.
accoglieremo con
We will welcome you with great trepidation and enthusiasm as we have been following, as we followed your departure with joy. And let me tell you, a little bit of pride.
e naturalmente
And of course, thank you, because
il senso di appartenenza che lei ha
the sense of belonging that you're demonstrating in this mission with your links with Sanremo, with the President of the Republic, you've spoken with both, is for us an element of pride and joy. The sense of identity of being Italian was demonstrated with great pride, and that tricolor flag that we saw on your suit when you left, we bring it all with us, a piece in our heart. So I'll let you back to your work and Italian food that I know you're eating out there. I know it's not a cotoletta or a Florentine steak, but when you come back here at Palazzo Chigi, we will wait for you. First, we will celebrate, and then we'll get to work together. Mr. President, I thank you for your words, and especially because through you, I thank all the Italians from the heart, from the youngest to the oldest, who demonstrated so much love and who have followed the mission. The mission is not over yet. There's so much to do still. And I will be so happy at my return, as you were saying, shortly to celebrate and then get back to work, as you said. Thank you again.
Grazie. Come si dice? Buon
Thank you.
viaggio.
How do you say?
A presto.
Bon voyage. See you soon.
A presto, Presidente.
See you soon, Mr. President.